Hello and welcome to Knit Cheek. My name is Natalie and I am the cheek behind Knit Cheek, and today you are watching my 2024 knitting recap. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I make videos. I talk about knitting. Greatest sales pitch of all time. This is a video talking about everything I knit in 2024, and while my stack may look different from your stack, I happen to think that mine is pretty realistic for somebody who knits not full-time, but like as my main hobby. There are definitely knitters out there who knit way more than me, and I don't aspire to try to make myself knit more if it's not in my capability. I watch a lot of these videos and I am blown away by how much some YouTubers knit, and it can be really easy to feel bad about like what I have produced when watching those videos, but I remind myself that that is not the point of knitting. Like, I'm here to knit myself a sweater, not to feel bad that I didn't knit myself 12 sweaters. You know, when you're on the internet, it's just that's what you do. But I'm just here to tell you, maybe don't. I would be happy with more sweaters this year. I knit what I was able to do, and I am happy with that. So a roundup of what I knit this year, I knit a total of 16 items. I knit 6 garments and 10 accessories, like hats, gloves, whatever. I didn't even knit gloves. I knit 3 gifts, and then I have 2 unfinished objects. And I only crocheted 1 thing this year, which I need to change next year because I love crochet. I'm gonna go through these one by one, and then we'll talk a little bit about some other stats, like what project took me the longest to knit and what project was the fastest to knit, which may surprise you. My first project of the year was the Oslo beanie, and I knit this between January 3rd and January 12th for a total of 19 days. So this was a pretty quick knit. This was actually a leftover Christmas gift, and this is not the one that I knit this year. I actually knit this one last year, but the one that I knit this year was almost identical. I knit, I think I want to say a total of 4 of these exact black beanies for the men in my life who like really boring beanies. It is a simple black Oslo beanie by Petite Knit, and I knit this in Retrosaria Mondim held double. So I had 2 skeins of it. It is a triple, is it triple folded? Yeah, it's a triple fold beanie, but you kind of join your brim, so there is no adjustment of wearing this. This is a really popular pattern, so I'm not going to go too much into detail because I'm sure you know plenty about the Oslo hat. I really enjoy knitting this pattern. I knit 6 of them total last year. Well, 6 of them total, 5 of them in 2023, and 1 carried over to 2024. So that is why this is my first project of the year. The one that I knit this year I sent to my uncle in Illinois, so I'm not able to show you that, but this is the one that I knit for Mr. Cheek, so it lives here in my house and it's really easy for me to show you. I promise you, they are almost identical. Like, I knit them pretty much exactly the same. I did not swatch for the Oslo beanies. I just didn't. I knit the size adult medium for all of them. I am going to rate this 5 stars for me because I liked the process and I liked the end result. I don't have an Oslo beanie for myself actually, but I would like to knit one. So this Oslo beanie weighs 102 grams, and I knit these with a shorter head. Like, there's not a lot of room when you wear it. Like, there's what is that called? You know, when you have kind of like a cone or like a gnome hat going on. Because these were for men, I did not do that. I made them very fitted. I know that 103 grams is very close to 100, and you're like, can I get away with 100 grams? And I'm just gonna let you know, if you try, you're not gonna have a lot of room. You're gonna be close because this was 103 grams. As far as the wearability of the Oslo hat, Mr. Cheek does get a lot of wear out of it, and he seems to really enjoy the fit of it as well. My next project is also by Petite Knit, and that is the weekend hat. I knit this kind of as a reward to myself for knitting 6 Oslo beanies, and I was like, I need to make myself a beanie. So this was my second project. I cast this on January 15th and I finished February 10th for a total of 26 days. Can you see how much more height I have in this beanie than the Oslo beanie? There's more height there. This is the Oslo beanie by Petite Knit. It is a triple brimmed beanie, but there's no like joining, so you can unravel it and it just looks like this. But it has like a double knitting row to keep that fold in place. And it is a wonderful beanie and I get a lot of wear out of it. I did not swatch for this beanie, and I also made this in the adult medium. The yarn I used is called Walcott's Origin in the color High Desert, and I love this color and I love this yarn. I will say I have the teeniest bit of an itch like right here when I wear it, just right here. Sometimes my head will itch, but I get a ton of wear out of this. It does not stop me from wearing it. It is a non-superwash yarn, and it has made me consider using superwash yarns in hats. I'm not a huge superwash fan. I like woolly wools, and it, like, if you feel it, it does not feel scratchy at all, but it's sometimes I get a little bit of a prickle right here, but it's not enough that I have to like rip it off or anything. I wear this all the time. I actually ran out of yarn, and so that can factor into that 26 days period. Not that I think that's a long time to knit a beanie, but I think I could have finished it faster if I had the right amount of yarn. I had one skein that I bought from SoCal Fiber Fair 2023, and I had picked up a skein of the Walcott's Origin. I always intended this to be a beanie, but I just didn't realize how much you would need for the triple brim beanie. But I used very little of the second skein of this, which was kind of annoying, but I did use that in another project coming up on this list. So I ran out of yarn January 22nd. So it looks like I knit this for like 7 days and then ran out of yarn, and I don't remember how long of a break I had. There was a little bit of time where I wasn't knitting this. And then I knit the 1x1 with a lot of intention. So I would knit, purl, tug. It's a technique, knit, purl, tug, where you like pull the purl tight to give yourself a neater 1x1, and I think it made a really big difference. I usually don't like my 1x1 ribbing. This is something that I'm proud of. Like, it looks good, but it's a lot of work to do a whole beanie with like a different like rhythm to your knitting. So there's that. It's also 1x1. It's not as like brain turning offy. No, it's not as mindless as the Oslo beanie was. It's, you know, you're doing ribbing. I do really like the end product. I would knit this again. 118 grams. It does take more than one skein of yarn to knit the weekend hat. And I think I knew that, but I just was like, prove it. And I found out. And the weekend hat I would rate 4 stars just because of the ribbing, and 4.5 stars. It's a great pattern. My next project, I don't know how to pronounce this. It is the Sorgenfri Scarf. It is a small neckerchief that you kind of just like tie once, maybe twice, real tight. I knit this out of like leftover yarn and really ended up liking it. So it's a fun little project. I cast this on January 22nd, which was apparently the day I ran out of the yarn for the weekend hat. So I needed a new project. I cast this on January 22nd and I finished it January 29th for a total of 7 days. This is close to the fastest knit project, but it's not. It is the second fastest knit project that I did this year. And you can see it's pretty small. And I took the train to Ventura and knit this all the way there. We took the train out there to pick up a car, so we drove back. But it was like I want to say it was a 4 or 5 hour train ride. So I got a ton of knitting done on the train. This is a pattern by Guri Penderson, and it's a pattern that if you sign up for her newsletter, like she would send it to you for free. He, I actually don't know. The designer would send it to you for free. But since then, I don't know if they still do that, because I think they send a different pattern for free. So I don't know how to get this pattern. And I emailed them and asked them, but never heard from them. So I don't know. I don't know if this pattern is easy to find. If you can find it, let me know, because I would like to let people know. It's really cute. I really like it. But there are other neckerchiefs out there, but I do really like the texture of this one a lot. It's like ribbing and moss stitch, and it was a really quick, enjoyable knit. I didn't love knitting with this yarn. It was kind of like hard to see it, and it tangled with itself. It's a cashmere blend. It's really, really nice. I love the feeling of it. and it was leftover. I made somebody a baby beanie and had a good amount of this left, and so I made the scarf. And I think I used like all of it because it's a pattern where you could just keep knitting until you're done knitting. So that's exactly what I did to use up as much yarn as possible. I did not swatch for this. It is Cashmere Fine 16 from Stash, leftover from a gift knit, and I would rate this 5 stars because I loved knitting it and I love wearing it, and it's a cute little like thing to just add to an outfit, which I need to do more. Would definitely knit more small scarves, and I have a whole bundle on Ravelry because I want to knit more small scarves. So this guy weighs 33 grams. So I believe that the skein that I had was a 50-gram skein, and I made a baby beanie, and that's why I have 33 grams of this leftover. Next on my list is the Ariana Cardigan, which is a pattern by Amy Christoffers, and it is a crochet granny square cardigan. And I knit this from January 29th through April 3rd. So it took me a total of 65 days to crochet this cardigan. I might accidentally say knit because it's just easier. It's just what I do. But I did crochet this, and I knit the button band and the ribbing. This is a free pattern by Amy Christoffers, and I knit this using Knitting for Olive in the heavy merino in a various amount of colors. And I knit the small medium. Or it might be a small, medium, large, and then there's like a large, extra large, extra, extra large. I don't know, but there's 2 sizes. I knit the smaller size. And I modified the pattern and cut, in the original pattern, they have like a webbing underneath the arm to give you like a more baggy fit, and I opted out of that, which the pattern does not give you an option to do, and I just kind of figured it out, which I don't know if I could redo. I don't remember how I did it, but I did it. This is a granny square cardigan that you crochet the granny squares 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 rows, and then you connect all the other ones with the brown yarn. And that was, I think, life-changing to realize that you can do that. I think this would have taken me forever if I had to seam this, and I think I would have hated the process of it. The neckband is knitted in a 2x2 ribbing, and so is the ribbing on the body and the arms. This is a really, really cool project. I don't think that I chose the right yarn for this. I really wanted to try Knitting for Olive, and I loved their color selection, so that's why I went with this for this cardigan. But it's a very like non-stretchy wool, and I don't think it was the best for crocheting. That being said, though, I mean, it's fine. It's heavy. I've seen a sample of this at the SoCal Fiber Fair that was superwash yarn, and it was really, really nice and drapey, and this is very like heavy and almost like a jacket. I don't get a lot of wear out of this. I think I finished it kind of in April, and then it was too warm to wear it because it's wool. It's a weird sweater because it's warm, but it's holey, you know? And then I feel like it's kind of not the most wintry colors. So I haven't worn it this winter, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, maybe that's ridiculous. But I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, this is a spring. Maybe I just need to wear this more. But I for some reason have not worn it much. Maybe like a handful of times. But I mean, I only finished it this year. So I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 stars. I would not crochet this again because I don't think I need another crochet granny square cardigan in my life. I knew that I wanted to make a project like this, and I searched the internet for crochet granny square garments, and this was definitely by far the most prettiest one. The reason I don't give it a higher rating is I think my own like yarn choices and my own modification, where that modification that I made underneath the arms, I didn't realize that it would make it kind of like less baggy. I mean, I did, but I didn't realize how much less. Like, it's not, I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not like the most oversized fit cardigan that I've ever worn. I do really like this. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that I don't get as much wear out of it as I should. So I used 576 grams of yarn to crochet this cardigan. My next project is the scarf number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is a project that lives with my mom. It was a gift for my mom, so I had to ask her to borrow it to make this video today. But it is a very similar scarf to the little scarf that I made, but the texture goes the opposite direction. And I really love this type of scarf where you can kind of like weigh your yarn and knit to a certain point and then knit the rest of it, because I really get a lot of satisfaction out of knitting all of my yarn. I struggled a lot with this project with gauge. I did not gauge swatch, but like one side ended up a lot bigger than the other side. My increased side ended up smaller than my decreased side, so I had to rip it out and re-knit half of this at some point. I cast this on February 11th and I finished it July 29th for a total of 169 days. Yes, this wins the longest project on my needles for sure. There is a numerous reasons for this. I went to Italy this year for 2 months with my partner and my best friend. We did something called woofing, where you go abroad and you live on a farm and like work in exchange for room and board, which is a really cool experience. And we had done it in our 20s and had decided to do it again in our 30s. I tried to finish this before I left and then ran out of the yarn because the second half of this was turning out so much bigger than the first half of it. So I had to rip it out and I knew I wasn't going to finish. And it was supposed to be a Mother's Day gift. And I obviously did not finish because I finished in July. So this ended up being a gift for my mom. I think I just gave it to her when I was done with it as a really late Mother's Day gift. I used a Walcott's yarn. This is the other skein of it that I got from the SoCal Fiber Fair. And this is an alpaca blend. So it's real drapey and it's a like solid black color. And my mom likes black, so I made this for her. I am not a huge fan of black. Not for knitting. I feel like it's okay to knit with. I know that some people don't like it because it's hard to see, but I'm fine with it. I used exactly one skein of this, which was very hard because of that situation that happened. 3 stars for this one, just because I really struggled to make this, but I really like the end result. It is very pretty and it is a great accessory, and I think my mom likes it. I don't know how much wear she gets out of it, so I can't speak for that. I think that if I owned it, I would wear it. I don't know about the color, but I would deal with it. It is weighing at 105 grams, but I know I used exactly one skein, so either the skein came out a little bit bigger than normal or I am weighing it wrong. Next up is the only project that I knit for 2 months while I was in Italy. I brought this and socks that I never cast on in Italy. I did not knit that much in Italy. I really only knit on the plane there and back, a couple other places, but it really was hard for me to find knitting time in Italy. We were really busy. Like we were working, we were, seeing as much as we could see, eating as much as we could eat, but I did get this done, and this is the Vacation Vest by Park Williams, and it is heavily modified, not on purpose, but I cast this on April 14th, which is the day we got on the plane, and I finished July 8th. I think we got home late June. So it looks like I finished it when I got home. It was on my needles for a total of 85 days. I swatched for this project and I met gauge. I knit this with Baroku Pima cotton, which is a cotton that I've used before for crochet and not for knitting. And it honestly wasn't my favorite for knitting because it's just like thick and I didn't love knitting a thicker cotton. I love knitting a thinner cotton, which I will show you. I don't know what size this is. I started with a medium, and then when I went to join my underarms, it was huge. So I ripped back, I want to say 2 or 3 times, just like messing with it without starting over to try to get a size that fit me better. And I did. And now it's kind of like, honestly, on the side of being too small. That's just perfect, isn't it? I was in a different country and just knitting away. I remember ripping this out actually on a farm. So I was at least to here after the airplane. I think I just did the finishing touches when I got home. I tried to do the clasps and I hated them because they like pulled at the fabric. So I ended up doing just some crochet chained ties. I don't get a lot of wear out of this. It's kind of revealing and like a summer piece, which hopefully next summer, because I finished it in July. I didn't end up wearing it, but I think that maybe next year when I'm, I'll wear it during the summer more. But it is a little snug, very revealing, which I knew. I mean, obviously when you look at the pattern, you know that, but sometimes you knit things thinking I can pull that off, and then you're done with it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can pull this off. But I do like it with like loose linen pants over a swimsuit or something would be cute, like a bikini. But you can see like you're exposed here, so if you wear anything underneath of it, you'll be able to see it. So I have worn it without anything underneath of it, just something to cover myself. So it's very cute. I really like the end result. It's 3 out of 5 stars for me, just because I don't get a lot of wear out of it, and I struggled so much with this pattern. I got Gauge, and Park Williams' pattern is written beautifully. It was a great pattern to take abroad because she's really, really thorough and like explaining things. So like if you don't remember Make One Left, like she writes it out, so I don't have to try to like look it up. I love this pattern, great for beginners. I just really struggled with this one, and that could be the yarn, it could be me, I don't know. Who knows? I think it might be the row gauge, which I never check. So maybe check that. And that is coming in at 150 gram, 1.5 skeins. I'm smiling because the next project is probably my favorite project. The next project that I knit is near and dear to my heart. It is my first cabled cardigan, and that is the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I made a video last year all about cabled cardigans because I've always wanted a cabled cardigan, and I was looking for the perfect one, and I settled on the Book Club cardigan pattern by Sari Nordlund. It was just coming out. There was a knit along, which I was really excited to like participate in a knit along. I was thrilled to knit this. I love this cardigan. It's my favorite thing that I've ever made. It is absolutely gorgeous. Not to toot my own horn, but maybe toot Sari's horn because she did a great job designing this pattern. There are a lot of people who knit this pattern that say that they ran out of yarn, and they say that the pattern underestimates how much yarn you will need. And I ran out of yarn. So there's some truth to that. If you're gonna knit this pattern, make sure that you get extra yarn, because I don't know if I know anyone who didn't run out of yarn or use more yarn than the pattern said. I started this project June 22nd and finished it November 22nd for 149 days. So this is close to my, I think this is maybe my second longest project. And this was a project I had very simultaneous other projects going on at the same time, just because this is a heavy project to work on. It's a labor intensive project to work on. That being said, I didn't have any issues with this pattern. Like I never had to frog, I never had to rip back. I enjoyed every process of this cardigan. I liked learning the new techniques and the new construction. I had never knit a pattern with or a cardigan constructed this way, and I had never knit cables this intensely. I mean, I had dabbled in cables, but not like this. This is all over cable work, and I really enjoyed the process. I definitely would knit more cabled cardigans. I don't think I would knit the same pattern. I just feel like that's, why would I do that? Why would I need 2 of these, even though I love it? I love the color. This is Quince & Co. Lark Gingerbread, and it is a really pretty brick red that goes with everything. My only caveat about this is that I'm like kind of precious with it. Like I won't wear it just anywhere, because this will get better, I think, as I become a more experienced knitter. Is like if I have right now I have 2 cardigans, if you count the Ariana cardigan, and a sweater. Those are the only garments that I have that I've ever made. I don't have much, so I can't afford for anything to happen to them. I think as time goes on and I knit more and more sweaters, maybe I'd be less precious with it. But right now it's like I really only wear this if I like think about it ahead of time. Like, what am I wearing it with? What am I wearing it to? I also realized that wool is so warm. I wore this to the SoCal Fiber Fair, and it was a cold day and it was really nice, but man, did I get really sweaty. Like you overheat. Like I almost feel like I need to put holes in my underarms, or like not worry about like seaming them up so much, you know, when you get a little hole, because I really get like just perspirant wearing wool. TMI, I swatched for this project because I am a good little knitter. I swatched and I met Gauge for this. I knit the size 3, but ended up like joining for size 5, and that was not intentional. It's just like when she told me to join with the pattern in the front and back happened to be the measurement for a size 5, and I was like, well, that fits. I'm not gonna not do that. And it definitely would have been too small if I did anything else. But it was a size 3, and then I cast on the sleeves because my sleeve holes were a lot different. They were deeper than the size 3. I cast on originally for the size 5 sleeve, and that was still too small. So I changed to a size 7 sleeve. And these are, I mean, they're not super loose sleeves. Like they're not super fitted, but they're not super loose. So I used almost every last bit of yarn. I think I had a total of 11 skeins, 50-gram skeins. I'll tell you the exact stats in a second here. I have like the smallest little nugget left, and I may add a half an inch to an inch, depending on how much I have, to the sleeve ribbing if it bothers me in the future. I haven't worn it enough to like decide if it does. I don't think it does. But if it ever did, I have the smallest amount of yarn left hidden away in case I want to add a little bit to it. But I really almost use, like, there's not enough yarn to do anything else with this except for to look at it. And obviously this is a 5 out of 5 for me. I love the process. I love the end results. I feel like I just need to wear it more. It's like, I won't throw it on like with sweatpants, you know, like this to me this is fancy. This goes with fancy stuff. We're going out to eat, you know? Okay, I was wrong, totally wrong. So I started off with 9 skeins of 50 grams of yarn, and then I had to order 4 extra skeins, which gave me a total of 13 skeins. And I used 12.8 skeins, which is 1,709 yards, or 22.4 ounces, 525 grams of yarn. Next up, I have my first ever pair of socks that I knit. That's a lie. I knit 2 other pairs of socks years ago, but they were DK weight, and it was like part of a 2 at a time class, Magic Loop, and I didn't love it, so I never did it again, years ago. And I gifted both sets of socks. This is my first set of fingering weight socks on 9-inch circular needles, and I loved the process of doing that. This is vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady. I cast these on August 1st, and I finished them August 18th for a total of 18 days. These are knit up in an indie dyed yarn that was sold as a set, so like the main color and the cuff color, and I bought it at some random like local fair, and I was like, oh my god, they have yarn here. There was a booth that had yarn, so I was like, obviously I have to buy some. I have to support. They are really nice. I really love them. I did not swatch for these, and I messed up the stitch count, and since then I do the trick of where I use stitch markers, the locking stitch markers every 10 rows so that I can count them. Because if you look at these are too short for my feet. They're like, I think the length that I need is 60 rows for my foot. I've since knit 3 other pairs of socks, and each one I've knit 60 rows. These are like 45. This one is so small. So I need to rip these out. I need to rip out the toe and add length to these, which I have enough yarn. And I kept wearing them and was like, why does my heel keep ending up like in the middle of my foot? And then I finally sat down and counted them, and I was like, oh my god, I really messed up the stitch count. But I was sitting there counting each, so I was just messing up. Will not be doing that again. Yeah, I've got to rip them out and fix them, which is annoying. So for that, they're 4 out of 5, even though I think they would be 5 out of 5 if I just fixed that. But I don't want to. But I should, because I have the yarn. I have plenty of yarn. I have enough yarn to make more socks, you know, because this was a 100-gram skein, and then this was like a little tiny one. I don't know how much it was. It wasn't 50 grams. I probably could knit another pair of socks from that yarn. The 2 of them together weigh 67, which seems light. They're not shorties, like they have a longer leg to them. And I haven't taken nice photographs of these either, but now I'm like, I have to fix them. 18 days for these. And I knit these primarily, I think, on my trip to Illinois to see my family. I brought my book club cardigan and these, and they would ask me, like, what are you doing? Why are you knitting 2 things? And I was like, this is brain off, that's brain on. So they called these my brain off. You know, we can talk to her while she's knitting these. So that is a good memory for me to think about when I knit socks, because it's very much true. Like, that is the beauty of socks, and that's why I love socks. I feel like before this, the Oslo hat was kind of my sock, like a head sock. It was a project you could just knit and not think about, and now that's socks for me. With, you know, you have to, the cuffs are easy, the legs are easy, the heel and the gusset is the only time where I'm like, okay, I gotta figure this out. I gotta sit down and look at what I'm doing. Otherwise, it's really, really easy to knit socks. Will I be knitting more socks? 100%. My next project number 9, was actually the camisole number 4, and that is one of my 2 unfinished projects of this year. I cast it on August 19th, and then I hibernated it sometime when it got too cold. In the future, if I ever do that, I will definitely denote like what days I hibernate them so that when I like see how long it took me to knit something, it's not 360 days because I hibernated it for half a year, but I didn't this time. Moving on to projects I actually finished is the project number 10, which was my mini mock neck tank, and that is by Jessie May Designs. This project was born from my desire to make something blue for my trip for Greece. And this is my blue mini mock neck tank. She's looking a little, she was, honestly, I keep a vacuum sealed bin under my bed, like for out of season stuff. And this is obviously like a summer top. So I stuck that there because I don't want it to get destroyed by moths or whatever, what have you, little end there. I cast this on August 26th and I finished it September 6th. And I knit this in 12 days. This is a contender for fastest knit, but she comes in third place. I was knitting this on a deadline. I actually have a vlog of my process of knitting this. It was on a deadline because like I had waited till the last minute to knit it for my Greece trip and then realized like that's why I bought this yarn, I need to do it. I swatched and got gauge. I knit a size medium, but I definitely should have knit a size small. So when I went to join in the round, I cast on stitches for a size extra small to help make up for that it being too big. It is still too big here though. Like this will curl, which it's just the nature of stockinette, but at the same time it's because it's too big here. There's no way that I can fix that, I don't think, without just reknitting it, which I'm not going to do. So it fits fine like the first wear because you can kind of place it, you know, but if you try to wear it a second or third time without washing it or like getting it wet, it kind of like folds in on itself. So I only really wore it once in Greece because of that. Hi, my phone died, so you may notice a little bit of difference in lighting and some noise because Mr. Cheek is here trying to fix our hot water heater, which went out last night. Hopefully it's not too distracting. But I was just finishing up talking about the mini mock neck tank that I knit, and this ended up weighing 104 grams, and I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars just because of the fit. I would knit this again though, and I think I would love it. Next up on my list is the August Colorwork Cuff Club. Oh my god, it's so hard to say it. I'm going to kind of go fast because I feel like I'm running out of light here. These are by Summer Lee. I cast them on September 2nd and finished them October 19th. They were on my needles for 48 days, and they are my first Colorwork socks. You can definitely tell that they were my first Colorwork socks. I went up a needle size as she recommended. You know, use cast on size 1, and then she has you go up to a size 2 for the Colorwork. And I feel like that made them look too thick here. Like there's a big difference in gauge. So when I knit my neck socks, I go up 1.5, and I definitely like that better than the full 2 millimeter or 2 US size 2 needles for the Colorwork, and I will continue to do so. These are a Knit Pick Stroll, which is a yarn that Summer Lee recommended, and I bought a ton of colors, and I used 54 grams for this pair of socks. I knit a size medium, and I did not swatch for these. I struggled to knit these, so I had to rip them out once, twice, I can't remember, but I struggled to get them over my heel. I struggled with the tension. I went through all of the stages of Colorwork grieving, and they're not my favorite because they are kind of wonky looking. So these get a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I do wear them. I'm able to wash these and dry them in the dryer on air dry, and I really like that about this yarn. It does kind of lose its shape. Like if you wear them, they kind of feel like loose at the end of the day. So washing them kind of gives them that like tightness again. I have since knit more Colorwork socks and I'm getting more used to it. I'm really running out of light here. My next project was my project 12, which was the Melange Sweater Baby by Petite Knit. I don't have that one. That is my second out of the 3 gift knits that I knit this year that I don't have because I wasn't going to ask my friend if I could borrow her baby sweater for this video. I cast it on September 5th and I finished October 3rd, and it took me 48 days to knit. It was a quick knit for me. I enjoyed the process of it. It was easy. It was my first pullover sweater, actually was that baby sweater, and it gave me the confidence to knit an adult size pullover, which I did later on in the year. I swatched and met gauge for this. I knit the size smallest, which was 3 months. And I knit it with Cascade Heritage held double in 2 colors. And I made a swatch and I was kind of worried about the melange with the 2 colors. I didn't think that it looked like the pictures, but I was really happy with the finished melange at the end. She tells you have to like twist the yarn, and I was like doing that and I don't notice a difference either way. It just looks the way that it looks, and it doesn't really look like her picture, but I still really like the end outcome. Project 13 was the Barber Shawl, and that is the second project that I cast on this year that I did not finish. I cast that on October 26th, and I did not swatch for it. And I'm using Ilmati yarn tweed, and I have been knitting this. I don't know why it's been such a slog, because I haven't been able to memorize the 40 row pattern repeat. I don't think it's that hard. It's like I have to be able to read the work, but I just have not been able to do it. So unfortunately, that is still on the needles, and it's being moved to a 2025 project. Project 14 is my Night and Day Cowl by Andrea Mowry, and that is a mosaic cowl, knit flat and then seamed. It is a really pretty mosaic, and I knit this with leftover of my Walcott's yarn and the Walcott's yarn that I used for the weekend hat, so they match really nicely. I used that, and then I used a skein of Spin Cycle that I had bought for the Inclination Shawl that I knit 2023 and didn't end up using this color because I didn't like it. I cast this on October 16th, and I was finished November 1st for a total of 17 days. So this was a quick one. I did not swatch for this. I knit the adult small. I used 126 grams of yarn total. I knit the neck edge too tight, so it's a little tight here. And I can't undo that. That's something you do like a lot as you're knitting it. And the edge kind of curls, but I still really like it. It's not too tight that I can't get it over my head. I did knit another one of these though, and I fixed this problem, and then I added a purl bump right before I did the I-cord, which you can see, but it's not like eye-catching. It kind of just fades into the I-cord, and I'm hoping that helps, but I gave that one away, so I don't know if it will. 5 out of 5 stars for this one. Project number 15 was my November Cuff Club, which was just like these. The same designer she's releasing every month. These were the November ones she released, and it's like a really pretty multiple color work. I love knitting these. I did a lot better with the color work, and these did take me a while. I'm not really sure why. I think I just was into other things and trying to get other things done. So I cast these on early November. I don't have the exact dates for these. And then I finished them December 31st, like just so that I could say I finished them this year. But I know they were on the needles for about 60 days. They are a size medium. I did not swatch. They're knit up in Knit Pick Stroll. These weigh 60 grams, both of them together. These get 4 out of 5 stars for me. And the reason is I hated weaving in all the ends. There was like 40 ends per sock, and 80 weaving in ends. That may be too, I don't know. There were at least 30, and I just feel like that's too many for socks. But I really like the end outcome. I think that I would be discouraged to do another pattern like this with this many ends to weave in for socks, but I don't know. I talk a lot of talk, you know. 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have my Oxbow socks by Andrea Mowry, and these are my project I knit in the least amount of time. I cast them on November 28th, 2024, and I finished them December 2nd. So these took 5 days. I did do this with the Oxbow Cowl Challenge, and I failed. I forgot about the time difference. You get a little bit of time Monday morning, but it's like 12 noon New York time, so I didn't finish these. I was a couple hours behind. I did not swatch for these. These are a size small. I used half a skein of the Sea Change Fiber Starboard, which I had picked up from the SoCal Fiber Fair. It is a non-superwash wool with silk. I think these are 222 grams, 222 yards, 51 grams. And these are 5 out of 5 for me. They are silky, so like, I don't know, I feel like they slide around a little bit more on my feet when I'm on wood floors, but I love them. These are my favorite socks. I love the ribbing, and I love the way that the variegated yarn looks on the ribbing. So 5 out of 5 for these. Okay, I have 2 more projects. hopefully I can get through before the sun goes down. My next project is project number 17, which was the sweater number 18. And this I cast on December 3rd and I finished December 23rd for a total of 21 days or 3 weeks. I have a whole 3-part vlog video series on this channel. I document the process of trying to knit my first adult size pullover sweater in 3 weeks. And I did it. And it's one of my favorites. So this and the book club cardigan are definitely my favorite pieces I made this year. This was Aran weight yarn. I swatched and met gauge. I knit the size small. I was kind of scared it was too big for a long time, but it honestly fits perfectly. The yarn is Juniper Moon's Farm in their cashmere blend. I used 7.54 skeins, 906 yards, or 377 grams. I did shorten the sleeves and I cropped the body. It's definitely shorter than the pattern had said to knit to. I really love this yarn. It's super soft and I really love the way that this sweater fits. My only downside to this too is that I'm precious with it and I'm scared to wear it because it's cream, but I keep buying cream yarn and then I'm like scared to wear it because I'm scared I'm going to ruin it. So I really need to start doing that. Stop doing that next year for sure. One of my goals is to knit with more color. 5 out of 5 for that. For sure. Love that sweater. My last project this year was my last gift knit that I also don't have, and that was another night and day cowl that I made similar to the sample that Andrea Mowry made on her project. I cast this on December 12th and finished it December 25th for a total of 14 days. I did not swatch for it. I made the adult small again, and for this one I used Sea Change Rabbing and DK, which is yarn I picked up from the SoCal Fiber Fair, and I had a color in like a dark brown black color and then a light cream color. I used 0.46 of my color B, the black skein, and 0.48 of my white color skein. So this is the one where I added the purl row to the bind off and to help with the curling, and I did the neck edging not as tight. I love this pattern that I knitted again, and I'm going to have to knit it again, the exact same pattern and the exact same yarn, because I originally knit this for my mom for Christmas and she loved it, and then I gave it to her for Christmas, but I had to seam it and block it. So I brought it home, seamed it, blocked it, and then I was out and about with my aunt who was in town from Illinois for the weekend or the week, and I was seaming it, and she was like, "Oh, it's a Cheap Trick cowl," because she's really obsessed with the band Cheap Trick. And I had been wanting to knit her something, but I just didn't know what to knit her. I'm not like super sure what her style is. And then it clicked like, oh, she would love this because she loves that band. So I told my mom about it and I was like, I'm just going to knit her one too. And my mom was like, give her this one now so she can take it and then you can knit me the other one. I'm okay waiting. So that's what I did. I gave it to her. So that's why I don't have it here today to show you. And I am going to knit another one for my mom. And I actually have it on my list for this week to cast it on. It's a short project, so hopefully it'll only take 2 weeks. That way I'm not too late. But I had cast on a pair of socks already, and I have another thing I want to cast on this week, so I need to get with that. To wrap up my 18 projects, 2 of which I didn't finish, gives me 16 finished projects. 6 of them are garments, 10 were accessories, 3 were gifts, and only 1 was crochet. The longest project on my needle was the scarf number 4, which was that black scarf, and the shortest was the oxbow socks. My favorites were the sweater 18 and the book club cardigan. A couple of firsts for me in 2024, I did my first pair of fingering weight socks. I did my first Colorwork. I did my first cables with the book club cardigan, and I did my first pullover sweater, which was the baby Melange, and then the full-size sweater 18. There's all my stats today. Sorry about the lighting change and my phone dying. If you knew me, you would know that's very on brand that my phone dies, but I did not realize that it would die so fast filming. Who would have thought? Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe if you want to see more content. I have more fun videos coming out in January, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.